Tonight I'm very privileged to have an incredible woman sitting next to me. This is Rosario Monzales. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Or to me, she's Rio. Not just my flatmate, but a really close friend of mine. She came to New Zealand at the beginning of this year on a scholarship to come and learn a bit more about, was it food security?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, so you want to tell me a little bit more about food security? Because, I have a brief understanding of what it is, but it seems to be quite a complex thing, like all this different studying that you've been doing around it.
Yeah, so food security is not only about having food, but it's also having access to food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big issue in the Philippines because, it's a very poor country.
Mm-hmm.
And then the purchasing power of people is very low. And the food availability is very low as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a good combination. So
Yeah, and like you were saying with the food prices as well.
yeah.
It has to be so high, and then it doesn't really balance out.
Yeah,
properly.
yeah. Because in the recent decades, we had a very huge inflation rate.
Mm-hmm.
So prices went up, but the salary of the people didn't really come up. So, yeah. So the family who used to be middle classes in the past few decades, they become very poor, and some of them even lived below poverty line.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a bit shock.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with your learning in food security, it's been one of the passion for you over in the Philippines. I know you were saying you grew up getting into this through growing up on your grandparents' grandparents' farm and learning about it through that. You want to tell me a bit more about your experiences
sure.
growing up there and how that inspired you to get into food security and nutrition?
Yeah, well, when I was young, because my grandfather is a farmer,
Mhm.
and then when I was young, we always go to his farm every
Yeah.
weekend. And then he has heaps of farm hands, and then I get to bond with them, know what their issues are,
Right.
what their problems are, and then I realized, oh God, it's not really good what's
Yeah.
happening in our country,
Mhm.
and also in my community as well. So it's quite a big eye opener for me. And then I decided, oh, I think I could really do something about it,
Yeah.
which made me decide to study nutrition as an undergraduate and then pursue a postgrad here in New Zealand.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
must be, because obviously it's such a big passion over there for you to take the courage to want to come over to New Zealand
Yeah.
and get that opportunity with your scholarship. So what is the scholarship under? It's under New Zealand.
It's under MFAT,
Mhm.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. It's classified as NZ aid, New Zealand's aid to the Philippines.
Mhm.
It's called New Zealand ASEAN Scholars Award. So it's for young leaders living in Southeast Asian nations like Philippines,
Mhm.
Cambodia, Thailand,
Yeah.
Vietnam. So I have other co-scholars who are here from all those different countries, and we are sent here to
Mhm.
gain knowledge and skills, and then eventually help our countries when we go home.
Yeah, because you were working with a few organisations already back in the Philippines. Is that right? Which ones were they?
There are two. So
Yeah.
the first one is Children International. It's based in
Yeah.
USA, and then the second one, International Needs, is based here in New Zealand.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
I guess overall with this is if you're coming over here to study and gain more knowledge on that, you can go back to those sort of organisations again and help them. Or
Yeah.
were you thinking of going on to something bigger, or is it because you were talking about World Vision as well? Was
Yeah.
something you want to go for
Yeah.
in the future?
Yeah, I really like World Vision or Save the Children. They have really good programs back in the Philippines. So
Right.
I think it's very practical and relevant. The things that I'm learning here, to be applied into those organizations. So yeah.
And what sort of your role? What was your role working in those organisations under nutrition and food security?
Before I went here, so I came
Mhm.
here just last February.
Yeah.
Before that, I was working as a program manager.
Mhm.
I was designing health and nutrition programs to communities all over the Philippines, and then helping out, training leaders and all those stuff.
So now that you're over here, is it developing on the things you've done, or are you learning a whole lot of new things that you'd like to take back?
Actually, I thought it would be like developing the things that I'm already doing, but it's actually surprising to know more about other things. Like it gave me international perspectives about things. So the first time I came here, I didn't really realize that there's also poverty and childhood malnutrition here in New Zealand, which is a first world country. I was so shocked that there's food insecurity. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a amazing thing with what you're doing, because a lot of people want to, you know, try and make a difference in the world and things.
Yeah.
But like we were saying before, sometimes it's about working in your expertise and just doing your part there, and you can actually make a big difference as well.
Yeah.
So are there some things that you've picked up? I mean, you've only been here for just over 6 months now.
Yeah, 6 months.
But are there some things you've picked up already that you know you for sure want to take back and develop in the Philippines?
Oh, it's just how some aspects of the health programs here in New Zealand, it's very some are very efficient. Like in the Philippines, we only target children.
That's right.
Like feed them food and stuff. But actually, here in New Zealand, they do other stuff like helping the parents, and they view malnutrition not only in the child's perspective, but also in the family. Because actually, malnutrition doesn't just start with the child. It's also a household thing. So to be able to help the child, you should be able to help the family. So I think that's one of the perspectives that I would really take home.
Yeah, so looking at sort of those, incorporating the parents as well, because like what I've heard from you, they like to focus a lot on the children, but you know, if the children aren't getting fed, it's, you know, it's affecting more than that, and then the community and things like that. And what I wanted to as well, like, what did you think was one of the hardest things coming to New Zealand? So it must have been such a brave move coming over, and I know you run a blog at the moment that you you know, keep friends and family updated in what you're learning and the experiences you're having. What sort of things do you think was the hardest or big changes that you didn't expect maybe?
Oh, well, first is the weather.
Yeah.
It's so dry and cold. And also like how you guys speak English, because some Kiwis really speak fast, so it's kind of hard to get.
Is that quite hard at university with your studies? Does it make that quite difficult?
It's definitely, because some professors are some are old, so they talk fast and really quietly, so it's really hard. But yeah, I mean I really enjoyed it, so.
Yeah, but I mean, you're doing such an amazing job already from what I've seen you've been doing with your studies and assignments, and it's really exciting to be able to share this experience with you as well, and to see what kind of things you can take back. Do you have any advice maybe for some people that are thinking of, you know, if they want to make a difference within an organisation or in their expertise, what kind of things they could do, you know, or taking the risk like you did to move to New Zealand?
I think it's just doing your own thing excellently. Not because it's a big thing. Problems are really big, and it's massive just for you to solve. Yeah. So it's like focusing on yourself, excelling on the things that you're specializing with.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming in tonight.